All,
Yeah.
all is good. All is good. Yeah, we know it's being recorded. It's fine. There we go. So is everybody like all excited with your messages, ready to rock and roll, kick some behind and all of that?
Still struggling.
What about you, Marianne? You still
I'm
struggling?
still struggling.
What's
I'm
giving you the
still
big headache?
struggling. I'm just struggling to get that point of contact, but because I think I'm not addressing a specific person, just to make a sort of generic thing is really struggling. And then again, because of that thing of not wanting to say to people, are you struggling with self-doubt? But kind of that one's actually easier to say, do you know anybody, who, but yeah, it's that first one, trying to find a
Just
connecting point of what value I add to them when it's kind
just
of personal.
if you're like really struggling with that, just come straight out and say it. Is like and then just make some sort of observation as to who the person is. That's why you're connecting. I help people, and then just give them a 2 or 3 or 5, or even if you use whatever's in you put in your LinkedIn profile to do this. It can really be as simple as that. So
Because what I have done is say, from your profile, I see we share a passion for helping women fulfill their potential. I work with business and professional women to help them reprogram limiting beliefs and build their confidence. I'm motivated by my belief that mindset is a key driver of success, and I love connecting with others who feel the same. Let's connect.
I suspect that might be a bit long.
Okay.
I'm doing the maths in my head. It's probably just a
There's
touch long,
one
but
that's,
but
yeah,
but
another one is slightly shorter, is also from your profile. I see we share a passion for helping women fulfill their potential. I work with women who have big dreams but struggle with overthinking, procrastination, or self-doubt. And my motivation is my belief that my belief that mindset is a key driver of success. I love connecting with others who feel the same. Let's connect. It's marginally short.
so the second bit, I'd go more with the second than the first, because just read it again. Sorry.
Which, the second one or the first
Yeah,
one?
the second one.
From your profile, I see we share a passion for helping women fulfill their potential. I work with women who have big dreams but struggle with overthinking, procrastination, or self-doubt. My motivation is my belief that mindset is a key driver of success, and I love connecting with others who feel the same. Let's connect.
So if you take that middle bit out, read it again.
What?
You should put
My motivation.
yeah. No,
Mhm.
no, that part can stay. The
I
part
love
before.
connecting with others.
Read it again. I'll tell you where to stop.
From your profile, I see we share a passion for helping women fulfill their potential.
Okay, cool.
I
Full
work with
stop. Right. Then I work with. Okay, yeah, I think.
I work with women who have big dreams but struggle with overthinking, procrastination, or self-doubt. My motivation is my belief that mindset is a key driver of success, and I love connecting with others who feel the same.
Yeah, so get rid of the I work with people because that bit is a little salesy for it's quite direct, and
Okay.
so get rid of that, and then the rest of the message is fine.
So from your profile, I see that we share a passion for helping women fulfill their potential. My motivation is my belief that mindset is okay. Yeah,
So now you've kind of said what you do, but you haven't come out and say it. Now then you
yeah.
go to your profile, because like, okay, this is quite interesting. So
Okay.
you don't have to make the judgment. They can judge internally and see what it says.
Okay, thank you. That sits well with
So
me.
yeah, it's kind of easy. I wonder where everyone else is. They got the wrong day today. Or what?
There wasn't a reminder. I struggled to find the connection. I had to go scratching around in the history to find a connection.
Yeah, okay, so let's do this. Let's see if this helps. Yeah. Let's see
Because
here.
normally there's a reminder comes through and then I just click on the link, but today there wasn't one.
Okay, let's send that through. Hopefully. Okay. Well, I'm not getting any frantic calls or anything, so. All right. Be that as it may. How did you go with your thanks for connecting message? Or did
That
you not?
I didn't. I don't even got. I'm still struggling with
Okay. All right. So
first
good. You
one.
can you can tick that box and that's cool. All right. Dylan, what about you? Did you do a thanks for connecting?
Yes. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
No, I'm the one using it this time. Share. Thank you. Okay.
Cool.
I've got very simple. This is my first when I'm sending them a connect request. Hi, whatever their name is. I help emerging small service businesses take the stress out of bookkeeping with practical financial insights, QuickBooks solutions, and smart business strategies so you can focus on what you love. Let's connect. So it's direct.
And it is direct. Just saying, it's like the only thing where I can sort of see that you looked at my profile is you're addressing me as a small service business owner, and I get that, but like this message, like all about you. There's nothing about me. There's no real building of rapport or anything like that. So it's quite hard hitting. Um, um, you might want to try this message against something a little softer.
Okay.
Because that might work well. You may get less people talking to you, but if somebody responds, it might be that in fact that's what they're looking for. So in terms of a numbers game, but like I would try to find something else. So if you're talking about
Okay.
small service businesses, um, talk about small service businesses, make a statement about them, an observation about them. I see you run, a small service business, and then sort of pivot in and just see if you can make some sort of connection rather than just going straight in.
Okay.
This is what I do. It's like, no, say hello first, then tell me what you do.
Okay. My thank you message, I think, is much better.
All right, let's have a look at that one.
Okay. Thank you for connecting. Let me introduce myself. Personally, I have 2 kids born 8 years apart. So I'm experiencing the joy of back-to-back teenage years. As a gamer, I enjoy spending hours with my family playing open world games. I don't know whether to keep it together there or not.
Yeah,
In
it's cool. Yeah,
in my free time, I unwind with crafting, reading, or crocheting.
cool.
Firstly, professionally, as the founder of GWiz, I enjoy building long-term relationships with my clients and seeing them thrive. I focus on helping small service businesses simplify their bookkeeping with QuickBooks Online. From setup and training to ongoing support, I ensure my client friends can focus on growing their business while I handle numbers. And because bookkeeping doesn't have to be boring, I share a daily joke for some fun. What is your experience with QuickBooks? Love it, hate it, or never try? Let's set up that meeting. Well,
Okay, the only thing don't love is some of the professionally. Everything else works quite well. So
Okay.
professionally, I'm the founder of GWiz. So this thing, I enjoy building long-term relationships with my clients and seeing them thrive. Maybe I focus on helping small businesses simplify their bookkeeping with QuickBooks Online. Perfect. Okay, I might stop there. Then from setup to training, ongoing support, I'm sure my client friends can focus on growing their business. That's quite a salesy piece. It's starting to get into it. It's like just bang bang, just let them know. I like the last piece. That's a bit of personality, so I'd keep that. So I'd probably get rid of, yeah, I'd get rid of that piece from
the
setup. Yeah, it's like it's a lot.
okay.
I
From
might
setup.
I might even get rid of the founder of you, as I enjoy building long-term relationships with my clients and seeing them thrive. That one's like a moot point, maybe. But you know, professionally, I focus on helping small service business simplify their bookkeeping with QuickBooks Online. Because bookkeeping doesn't have to be boring, I share daily dad joke for some fun. Like short, sharp, I know what you do. If I'm interested, I'll go look. The rest of it is like you're trying to sell me. So
Okay,
you
good.
kind of, me personally, I'm thinking it's starting to kind of undo some of the good work that you've done up until now. But otherwise, yeah, it's nice. Also quite a nice question in a way. It's an interesting question because it's kind of a variation of the theme, you know, the this or that. Typically,
Yeah.
you want to ask me, but 3 is also okay, I suppose. Love it, hate it, never tried it. So it kind of gets to the point, I suppose, in an understated way. It's actually a really nice question. I think it'd be very cool if you get to use it. Test that. I'd love to see what the results are. I think it's kind of cool.
Perfect. And I'll work on
Yeah, it's a nice it's a nice message. So one of the reasons that I'm wanting to take a lot of the stuff out is just because of the brevity of what happens. It's like I'm just seeing people have got like shorter and shorter attention spans. When I first started, this message used to be a lot longer, and now it's kind of just bang bang. Personally this, professionally that. Let me know if I can help. But and we're done. So honestly, I might even get rid of that stuff at the bottom. I would let them go to the profile. Just tell them and be done. Because that's Shart's business. This is relationship I'm building. This is my introduction to you. So I would take it out if it was me. It's too strong for now. From your next message, leave it in, sure. But this one, no.
No. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, but well done. Nice effort. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. How's it, Christelle? Right. We'll pick on you because I think you might be the only other one that was here last week, and I don't know if the others have managed to do homework.
I must be honest. I haven't looked at my. It's just been crazy, so
all right.
I haven't had a chance to look at my thank you letter. Actually, let me just show you what I've sort of got. Let me just quickly open up here. It hasn't progressed much further than where I finished off. Hang on, let me just see. Thank you letters. Here we go. Right. Let me see if I can share with you quickly. Share. Right. So can you see my Excel spreadsheet?
We can indeed see your Excel spreadsheet.
So I've created these thank you letter messages. There's 10 of them. So I used a very short version, and then I created the one you suggested. But I realize now that I've listened to what Delwyn's got in her message. I haven't gone personal enough. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So
Personal is the key to this whole message. This is what unlocks the whole thing. At the moment, there's a lot of automation going on. And frankly, I automate this message also. But in terms of how do people kind of resonate with you, because there's so much stuff going on, the personal touch is what does it. Like that's probably the biggest key to this whole message. Personally, that's the pattern interrupt. That's the thing that gets people to sit up and take notice. And you'll see people will respond to that message, and you'll see from the responses how they like it. So it's not deep dark secrets. It's just a little bit about you giving some insight into the personality and giving them an opportunity to start a conversation with you should they so choose.
So then I would recommend us looking at the last 5 messages.
I would recommend, right? Okay, we take your recommendation. Okay.
So you must just tell me, shall we just pick this first one? So it's, hi, whoever. Thank you for connecting with me. A little bit about me. I'm a coffee enthusiast, a lover of all things organized, yes, color-coded. As you can see, I am color-coded, which makes me happy, and a proud mom of a third child. Professionally, I'm the founder of Assistant Works, where I help entrepreneurs and business owners reclaim their time by handling their behind the scenes tasks and email management, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know. What's sticking out now is this whole professional thing. So I'm not sure what your take is on it.
Perfect. Like it's short, sharp, to the point. Like I know what you do. Yeah.
And then the last bit of the message is, if you need me, sorry, I can't even read my own stuff. If you ever need a sounding board for productivity tips, or just want to chat around some of your streamline, sorry, I can't read my own stuff, then just email me, blah, blah, blah. And I think all of them's got a very similar feel to that. And as you can see, I've 6, 7, and 9 is my favorite messages, and then the other 2 are okay-ish. I'm not thrilled about it.
There's only one small change I would make, and that's right in your introduction. Obviously, when you write it, you must format it also, right? Because you must remember something, whether it's messages or profile stuff. A lot of people will read it on their phone, so you got to make it readable, right? So like take the time and just create the different paragraphs. Your introduction is quite sudden, right? So thanks for connecting with me, and then a little bit about me. Some people might take that the wrong way. It's like, yeah, well, that's kind of forward. Okay. So that's why in my introduction, I've softened it a little bit. I thought I would quickly introduce myself. So it's like, okay, I'm not, you know, it's like you need to know who I am. A little bit about me, right? So you might just lead into that and just soften it. Otherwise, it's actually a great message.
Okay. So soften it. Okay, perfect. I've got it.
just the introduction. Yeah. You also you haven't put a question to potentially, but although maybe your last sentence, if you ever need a sounding board, so maybe you sort of combine the two. Yeah, no, it's no, it's a nice message. Just tweak that first bit. I think you're fine with that. Okay. So all right, cool. Remind me to give you a tool to make this easier. Okay, at the end, because I just want to get into the content for today, and then at the end I'll double back. You love what I'm going to give you. It's such a simple tool. It does one thing and one thing only, but it does it so well. You'll really love it. Okay, so hang on a second. Let's get to.
I've put together a thank you thing while you've been talking.
All right. Show us.
I'll have to. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, James, I'd also like to ask a question if you have space.
Ah,
Sorry, I'm trying to shrink my screen so I can open another one, but it's not letting
Ah.
me do that. There we go. So, hi, person. Thank you for connecting. Let me introduce myself. Personally, I'm a lifelong learner, an ardent croquet player, and I enjoy walking in nature. Professionally, I work with women who have big dreams but struggle with overthinking, procrastination, or self-doubt. And then I got stuck with how to relate that to them, but then finish off with saying, I'd love to learn more about you and your business. Let's connect.
you don't need to relate to them in this message. You're just stating that's what I do.
Mhm.
If I can ever be of help, let me know if I can be a resource. That's it.
Ah, okay.
You don't need to relate anything. It's not the point of this. Relate comes after next messages.
Mhm. So after self-doubt, I can just say, I'm happy to be a resource for you or something.
Yeah, if something along those lines. Say it how you would say it. Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. See, well done. Look at you. 2 messages in like 1 day. It's like amazing. So what?
Considering how long it took me to get the first one going, and this
Oh,
one's been
look
very
at that. Look, your improvement is mind blowing. Who's the productivity coach? Let's just see what Renise has got. All right.
So, yeah, I only managed to watch all your videos today because I was on leave last week, and the week before we were at the doctor, on the week before that I forgot.
All good.
So it's
This
been
is
a month, like a whole year in 1 month. So, but this is what I've been sending people like since November.
yeah.
And so the first one is the connection. When I'm looking to connect with more people in the impact space and I came across your profile, I would love to connect. About 30-40% like acceptance rate, which is not terrible.
Nah, it's
But
kind of standard.
yeah,
So
but like
so
the
so what I would say with that is, like, again, some of the commented before, I understand you're in the impact space. I don't really know why you're wanting to connect with me. I get
yeah,
it, but there's something missing. I might be curious enough to look at your profile, or I might not.
yeah.
I don't know. So the one thing is, when you send a connection note, like the
Mm,
note's got to be good. It can't be a crappy note, and it can't be a salesy type note. So there's got to be good context. Otherwise, you're better off not sending a note at all. So I understand you're in the impact space. I'm not quite sure why or what. You know. And is there something else you can say? So like, why? You know, is it because you have an interest, because you have a passion, because you love what it does for the country? Like, there's probably something else, right? Because if they're in that space, then there's a reason, and there's probably a passion in that space. So can you share something, just so that there's a bit of a bond, even if I don't know why, right? But if I know that you're wanting to connect with me because you share a passion for impact as I do, then I'm kind of good to go.
mm. Yeah, so I think that the purpose of these messages have just like connected with people who like the impact space. You know, it hasn't really led to any like money. Okay. So
Yeah,
because I've been
but
mm,
that's all that was. It was
yeah.
just a connection, right? You need to take it to the next level. That's the next point. So the thanks for connecting message starts that process, but then you have the opportunity to follow on. So a lot of people will resonate. So they don't know why you're connecting. So when they're kind of looking at the profile, you know, is the reason there that they can see? you might have to push this a little bit on this side. So this is not the message to push it, and actually neither is the next one. The third message, that's when you start getting involved, when you can start asking them more specific questions about their business and so on and so forth.
So this is the thank you message I've been sending. Thank you for accepting my. I know it's not like your little system. I didn't get to do that yet, but
Yeah.
I know what Christelle is coming from because she talks about like the personal side of it. I'm so uncomfortable with that, like talking about being a toddler mom or like
Yeah, but if
like
I'm
reading or
so take
it's
the
so
opposite.
uncomfortable.
Take
Yeah.
take the opposite for a second. So I now get this. I get that first message, which is in
Mm.
person. I just know you in this space. Now I get this one. Thanks for accepting. So all good. Looking forward to keeping in touch. Really? I'm playing devil's advocate now. Okay. Our business
Mm.
improves cash flow and compliance and accounting and cash flow consulting services. I do webinars and free resources. Yeah, that's awesome. So now I know all about you. That's fantastic. Like there's nothing in this for me unless I really want that, and you haven't given me a really sort of compelling reason to talk to you about being my accountant. So I'm saying this is very accountant-like and cold. I'm trying to get you to put a little bit of personality into this so that when somebody on the other side picks it up, they look at it and they say, you know what, this person's got a little bit. Particularly if you're going into the space that you're going into.
Mm.
So go back and have a look at it again when you've had a chance to reflect and see what you can do. That format took me a very long time to build. I took pieces from lots of different things to put it together. It's not something that's common. You won't find that out there in the marketplace. So people haven't seen it. So when you do stuff like that, it leaves an impact with people. And if sort of going back to some of the earlier stuff, if instead of sending that message, right,
Mm.
you rather do a little bit of research and you send people a personalized message, that's going to work a lot better for you in this space, right?
Yeah.
So with that was 2 weeks ago or whatever, if you watch that session, playing around with that. So speak to people particularly where they are, and I think you'll find you'll get a very good response. I won't say your response rate will double, but you'll add at least 10 to 20% to your acceptance rate if you do that. And then if you
Yeah. I understand that. It's just that, it takes so much time to like read people's profiles and coming up with a message and everything. And like you said, I know you said it in your previous webinar that I watched this morning, that, it's like 3 minutes per profile. It's not 3 minutes. It's like, it can go up to like how long is a piece of string, It can take like 10 minutes to put together like one message. It's just like you got to do 20 a day. It's going to take you like 2 hours to do this every day. And it's like time you don't have. So maybe it's like as you do it more and more, you get better at it, and then you become like 3 minutes. But when you start out, it's like it's a long time.
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
It's like learning anything new. You've got to sort of hone in the skill, 100%.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something as specialized as that, it's worth doing.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So is it maybe better to start with like maybe 5 people a day and then
Yeah.
work your way up
Yeah.
to like the
Yep.
20? Because
Yep.
like 20 a day is like a lot,
Yep.
So
20 days is the maximum LinkedIn will give you. But I mean, if you did 5 a day and you went to proper lengths and people could see and you get into writing good messages, you'll probably find that you get a better response than if you automated 100 for the week.
So
Actually.
on automation, right? Don't shout me, but I subscribe to one of these automation tools. Okay, it's called what is it called? Linked Helper. Okay.
It's all right.
So I did these 2 messages, and the interesting thing is if I posted content at the same time that the thing was running. So it like really boosted my posts like crazy. So that really helped visibility of my posts. My posts are really good sometimes, not all the time, sometimes. So I would get like messages from that, but from these messages, it was like crickets. So that's just my feedback on automation.
But
So,
I understand though. There's a lot that's going on, right?
yeah.
The profile is part of it. The content is another part of it. The sending the messages is highlighting to people that you're in the space. They didn't know about you before. So it may not be the message that does the closing. It might be the profile. It might be the content. It doesn't matter. How do you get people to see you? Trying to post content in a vacuum on LinkedIn is very, very hard work. It's like that's like a full-time job on its own. And I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Like to be good, to be found, to be like the top guys, that's what you need to do. For us, we don't have time for that. We must post content so that when people find us, the right content is there so they resonate. Okay. So how do they find you? Well, you send them connection requests. You just do that over and over and over. So that's where the automation helps, is you just exposing more people. And then as you say, some still connect. And then so LinkedIn has a tendency to show your content to the people that you connect with for a while. If they engage, it will continue. If not, then it falls away. So it's designed that way. It's supposed to work that way. And it does, as you have just found out.
So how do we, okay, so my last question. So how do we structure this, right? Because we're starting out with these connection requests. We do the personalization at the start, and then eventually we can move on to like some sort of automation thingy where, is that what you recommend?
Yeah, 100%. Like right now, so this program, automation is like the next level up. It's like different stuff. It's a whole different ball game. I just wanted to put you guys in a position where you could operate with very few tools, very few external resources, but you've got a system that if you just do it, it works. You will connect with people and people will become clients. I know there's a little bit of effort, but it's not the worst thing in the world if you're putting the effort in and writing very personalized stuff. But there's a lot to be said for automation. Automation scales. I send 40 connection requests a day to accountants and financial advisors. Promise you I don't do this. I do it for a few, but I don't do it for most of them. But I can send 40, so I do.
Are you gonna teach eventually how to do that? I know it won't be on this program,
Not on this program. I teach it in my coaching program, and we'll probably put some courses and stuff together. So like if you're interested in that sort of thing, chat to me afterwards.
Okay, cool.
But probably not here. No, that's
definitely.
there's a little more to that than I've got time to teach here. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, automation is cool. Does anyone else have a question? Are we good? Okay. So actually, I'm going to ask you guys for 1 second. I'm expecting a delivery, which I need to give to my dad. So tight, we're coming. But I need the toilet. So give me 1 second. I'll be with you in a minute.
Renita, I was interested in the automated things that you're sending out. You're getting a good response. Do you actually get clients or just people connecting?
No real clients have come from it, Marianne. So but I think there's quite a lot of people connected with me, like 300 or so. But
But
But I
if they're
think with
not
accounting,
becoming clients,
yeah, but I think with accounting service is a bit harder, I've heard, because the cycle, and also it is a weird time of the year. It's like November, so I don't think a lot of people are looking for an accountant in November. So the cycle is longer, the touch points are longer. So the
yeah,
point
I
I
was just
wanted to do with
curious
it
as to
was,
see whether, because often they say, volume is one thing, but quality is another. So,
yeah.
Mhm.
But I wanted to just include them in my network because I do a lot of content stuff. So then they could see my content, and then those are the touch points to
Yeah.
eventually become a client in the future. But
Mhm.
there was one
All right.
potential client, but yeah.
Let's talk about how to find these people now. Okay, so it's kind of interesting because everything is a bit of chicken and egg, right? As we go through this whole thing. So the first chicken and egg was kind of this. And I'm doing a program with the guys at Momentum at the moment, and it's kind of like, what do I teach them first? Do I teach them how to pick a niche, or do I talk about, product? So remember when we started, we picked that ideal group of people with a similar set of characteristics, right? So that kind of being step one. And then what we did is we kind of found that big problem we solved, and we sort of married it up, and we created that magic message, right? And then we used that as the focal point to build out pretty much the rest of the profile. So obviously we did a little bit of graphical stuff. Then we got into the about section, which is kind of like your sales page, but this piece is more important than most people think. And a lot of us put a little bit of story and personality into that, and AI can't duplicate that, right? And a lot of us got across pretty much what we do. So after that, we then get into the experience section, which for most of us tends to just be the nuts and bolts, so people can recognize when they're looking at that that's what you do. Once that's been done, now obviously you're starting to see the framework, the positioning has been done, and now it's really a case of getting them into our world, right? So if you are doing content, it will really accelerate this whole thing. If you're not, this will still work for you. And so the whole point is now to start getting those messages going. So obviously we looked at the messaging. So we started off with connection messages in week 10, as we saw. And I showed you a few interesting ways to do it, how to use ChatGPT. And that just, particularly in the beginning, it makes it a little bit easier. So you can use ChatGPT to prompt. Funny enough, I've just this weekend actually, but I haven't tested it. I built out a message GPT to try to make this stuff easier. It's a little bit more complex than the first one I built, so I need to test it to see. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But starting with a connection message, which is just that, right, is to get them to accept that connection message, because there's so many important things that happen in terms of those first level connections, getting the email address and being able to communicate with them. And then of course we did the thanks for connecting message last week, right? So all of that essentially gives you access to the entire system, right? And so everything that we've done has been sort of positioning you to now jump into action. Really, the last step of this process is now to go find these people that we've defined the niche for, we've created that value proposition around magic message for, we've written a connection and a thanks for connecting message. And now, because we've got the profile or the sales page designed specifically for that person, now we've got to go find that person. Okay, so that's really where we're at the moment. So I want to talk to you today about a few things, and I'm going to show you kind of LinkedIn versus Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is honestly so much superior to LinkedIn, but I know a lot of you won't have it, or you won't have it for an extended period of time. But let's have a look at that. So first thing I want to talk to you about is the connection strategy that you have, right? Because different people are on LinkedIn for different reasons, and there's different things that you should do. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the filters, and then we'll jump onto LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, and I'll sort of show you some of the differences, and you'll be able to see and make a little bit of an assessment as to whether you think Sales Navigator is the way to go. And of course, for most of you, you'll be able to take a 1 month trial, and you should do that. You should test it if you haven't used it before. So obviously, this is kind of where we're at the moment, is now we need to identify the audience. So we did 1, 2, 3, and 5. And now we're just going to do 4 so that you can find the right people to make those messages hit home, as it were. So connection strategy. So this is something, I'm not sure if I covered this with you before, but this is really important, okay, for you to understand when you are looking at building your network and reaching out and what you're actually able to do. So this idea of a network, LinkedIn will keep me saying this, but it's like network marketing, right? You tell to people and they tell to people and they tell to people. But LinkedIn only allows you 3 levels in their network. So if we connect, so let's say I connect with Marion, right? So we are now first level connections, and then Marion connects with Pranita. So I'm now a second level connection to Pranita, but she's a first level connection to Marion, and Pranita then connects to Crystal, and so it goes, right? And so obviously this thing grows as exponentially. Now the question is, why the hell does that matter? And the reason is this: most people use LinkedIn because everyone has access to LinkedIn, right? Everybody is used to it. If somebody is searching for you, so if somebody says, I'm looking for an accountant in Johannesburg, right? You obviously have an opportunity of picking up that client in the space. But, here's the big but, when you're on LinkedIn, if you are not in their network or they are not in your network, which means you're not a first, second, or third level connection, or you're part of a group that they're part of, and you have been part of that group for at least 4 days, you simply will not come up in the search on LinkedIn, okay? This won't happen. So that being said, the goal is to build this network as big as you can, right? That's the whole idea, so that if somebody is there, that you will be in the network and you can be found. So that kind of works where people are looking for you, and that's quite intent-based, right? We're looking at connecting with people who are not showing intent, and we're trying to ferret out the ones that are interested and to get them to have intent. But the people that are searching for an accountant in Johannesburg probably have some intent, because why the hell would you be searching for that? You probably have a need. So you want to give yourself every opportunity to be found. And so rule number 1 is the network must be as big as possible, right? That being said, okay, connect with the right people. Why do you want to connect with the right people? Well, because they know people like them. So I've got a massive network of accountants and financial advisors, right? Guess what? I've got their networks and they all connect with other accountants and financial advisors. So it helps with referrals, it helps with this process. In fact, it is extraordinarily unusual today for me to go onto LinkedIn and to see a profile of an accountant or a financial advisor that is not in my network, that is outside of third level. It's like it happens twice a year, and those profiles are horrendous because those people are not active on LinkedIn. So that's the power of niche, right? Because I've built a niche, I've built a network within that particular niche. I'm connected to everybody. Makes life quite easy down the track, right? So that's rule number 1. Build it as big as possible, but make it as targeted as possible. The holy grail is your first level connections, right? Because the more first level connections that you have, the bigger the rest of this network. But there's a couple of other advantages. Advantage number 1 is we can now start to message each other backwards and forwards in an unlimited way using LinkedIn, right? And guess what? Because LinkedIn controls that universe, that message gets delivered 100% of the time. Not only will you receive the message on LinkedIn, but in all probability, they will send you an email. There is no email service provider alive today that puts a linkedin.com email into spam. That just does not happen, okay? So that email is going into somebody's inbox 100% of the time, as is the message on LinkedIn. So it's a really, really effective way to speak to people, right? If there are first level connections, you get to do that. For the majority of first level connections, I would say 95%. There's a few people that for some reason turn off the privacy, but for 95% of the people who connect with you at a first degree level, LinkedIn will give you their email address, right? one of the things that we like to do as part of the automation, and you can do it yourselves without automation, is we email them as well, right? So we talk to them on email and we do LinkedIn. So this is extraordinarily valuable. This is the holy grail, is to build as many of these people in the targeted space. So in Benita's case, where she's talking about content, right? Obviously what's happening as well is because she's writing targeted content, it's going to her peeps. When they start to engage, it starts to go to their networks, their second and their third. And that's why she gets like an added bump to the conversion. So now she's posting content. She's consistently reaching out, right, to people. Every time you reach out, LinkedIn is going to show them your content in the first few weeks or so. It's just how the algorithm is created. If they actually start responding and they're starting to read your content, they start engaging, gets even better. LinkedIn will continue to show them your content. But this is what's going to happen. Is that it's kind of like a positive flywheel. So all of this is really cool, right? So that's game plan, as you see over there. Now let's talk about connection strategy itself. So the first thing is I'm not a big fan of connecting with everyone. Like if you're going to build the system, particularly if at the end of the day you're going to start to put message sequences and things in place, everyone is quite difficult because it really starts to disseminate your effort. So let's go back to the content, right? Probably only about 10% of your people currently are seeing your content that you're posting, right? Because there's too many people on LinkedIn now, just it gets caught up in the feed. So if only let's say only half of the people in your network are targeted, well, actually now you've reduced your efficacy from 10% to 5%, right? And this is going to proliferate. Also, it starts to get difficult to deal with all sorts of different people. And it becomes a mess, right? So again, it's going to depend on your business. So for me, if you're not an accountant or financial advisor, I'm quite hard pressed to even accept the connection request that you send me. I'm quite fastidious for that because of everything that goes with it. So I would say to you, just be careful with who you accept. Like you've got to look at it and say, is this going, can I sell something to this person? Or ultimately, are they going to be valuable enough to bring people into my network that I can? If not, maybe it's not the best idea for you to accept that connection request. Also, as I said to you, I'm a big fan of building the network with people I can sell something to. Ultimately, that's the strategy at the end of the day. Okay? So I'm wanting to connect with my niche and my ideal clients. Also, I just see. Yeah, I'll come to point 3 in a second. So the flip side of that is a lot of people, and I've just told you that accountants and financial advisors connect to other accountants and financial advisors. We all have peers that we connect to some point. Some of them a lot more, right? The reality is I don't want to connect to my peers, okay? Because I can't sell them anything, and I don't want them to see what I'm doing from a competitive standpoint. So there's only certain circumstances that I would connect to them. So I don't connect to a lot of marketing people. Okay, they're not in my wheelhouse, right? They're not very useful to me. Some of them are. There's been occasion for us to do work together, but as a rule, like no point. Okay, so I would say to you, as a rule, don't connect to your peers. So if you're going through a process and you're saying I'm going to connect with 5, 10, 15, 20 people a day, like peers are not them. They're not moving your network forward, because the network is the people that you're going to sell to, not your peers. Okay, so that's my advice to you there. Talking about this idea of who to connect to, you have two options really, right? And for some of you, one option would be better than the other, and for a lot of you, using both options together is actually quite a good idea. So the first is the direct option. So I want to connect with accountants or financial advisors. I go do a search for accountants and financial advisors. I find them, I send them connection request, right? But the referral is also cool. So this whole program, in fact, is built on the premise of strategic partners. That's what this is. So think about the people that can refer people to you, the strategic partners, and connect with them. So there, it's a different relationship. You're not trying to sell them something. You are legitimately trying to build a relationship, and there might legitimately be opportunity to work together. So you should do a little bit of that. That takes longer, right? And it takes a little bit more effort because you will have an hour conversation with a person. Then there's going to be no sale at the end of it, right? Not immediately, but those are the real relationships and the connections that build into the future. And if you find that you get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 really good referral partners, like those people will refer business to you for a lifetime if you treat them well, and that relationship is symbiotic. So you have these 2 options, right? And you just sort of consider your own strategy, what's going to work for you. I'm a big fan of both. So work out what works for you. This, yeah, this last piece over here, I can't remember because I haven't looked recently with at you guys, but the magic number is 500, right? Because LinkedIn is going to show exactly how many connections you have until you get to 500. If it says 500 plus, nobody knows if you've got 500 or 30,000, which is the upper limit of what you're allowed. So 500 is a little bit of a psychological number, and it actually affects a number of people where they sort of look at it, and if you don't have 500, sometimes they don't connect. So if you don't, your first goal is to get to 500 as soon as possible. Okay. I'm not even going to, I don't know if I'm going to tell you about this. Lions stands for LinkedIn Open Networker. These are people that will just accept your connection request because that's what they do, and you know that because they tell you that in their title or on their profile. This is not a great way. For everything else that I've said to you up here, it's not great. But if you're low here and you need a quick fill-up, then finding Lions is a good idea. If you want to find out more, just go Google about Lions. There's tons of stuff. The other people that will accept a connection request from you every single time are the employment agencies. Okay, so like the recruiters are like, they just want to build networks. They don't care who they put in it. So they're quite good people to have, right? Because A, they'll accept your connection request, and B, they have massive networks. So if you're starting, like, that's a good way if you need to get to 500, right? But if you're there, then stop Lions, stop recruiters, just do what you're doing, all the stuff you've done up until now. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Let's talk a little bit about the filters, right? Because this is where the magic really is on LinkedIn. And let's explain to you very quickly how LinkedIn is structured. So LinkedIn has a database of, I don't know because they don't release the figures, but I'm guessing based on sort of calculations that they're probably around about 1.2 billion, give or take. Okay. They have somewhere between 13 and 14 million people in South Africa. So for most of us, our target market on LinkedIn. That's a lot of people. So they've got this massive database. So they've created this freemium product. You know, like when somebody says, hey, you want this ebook? Like opt in and you can have it, and they get your name and email address. This is the most brilliant free thing called LinkedIn, right? Because it works. And think about it. They have all of our data, every single one of us. 1.2 billion people opted into LinkedIn. Okay, and so they've created a really effective system that actually works pretty well. But like if you really look at it and you dig underneath the surface, they stymie you a bit. They stifle you. Like if you don't upscale and pay for a sales navigator, you are limited in the amount of searches you can do, the amount of people you can find. And so this is a big push for them. They won't say that, but it is. Like it's a big push to push you to go to give them money. And 39% of the active database gives them money. So it's a big number, right? So think about it this way. LinkedIn actually has 2 completely different systems. Understand they use the same database, but they're different. This thing called LinkedIn is different to this thing called Sales Navigator. Okay, the one you pay for, the one you get free. So obviously the one you pay for, you're going to get more information. So if you look at this, the basic account gives you limited access to stuff. Sales Navigator is going to give you a lot more. And these are the filters here on the left, right? These are not all of them, but these are some of the more important ones that I find we collectively in this group will use typically when we are trying to find clients. So let's just run through this. I'll use accountants as an example here. So the first thing, obviously, the first filter is the keyword filter. Right? So that's the main filter when you go in and you start a search. And so typically, if I'm looking for accountants, I would type the word accountant in there. Right? I might say chartered accountant, I might say auditor, whatever it is I'm looking for, I would type that in there. Now, one of the things that you need to understand, when you're typing something into the search box, it searches the entire profile. So it's quite broad, right? And it's not always the best, but it's a good starting point. But that's how we would start the process. Then the next question is, okay, well, where are they? Right? Where do your ideal clients need to be? And for most of us, since COVID, they can be anywhere in South Africa, right? So you'll see here that both on LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, we have access to what we call local, regional, and international. So we can find people in South Africa, we can find people in Gauteng, in the Johannesburg Metropole, in Johannesburg, in Edinburgh, right? You can really narrow in relatively tightly now. LinkedIn is getting better at that. Sales Navigator has a slightly different option as well, and you can see it's only available here. They call it the postal code, I call it the radius filter. And what happens there is you put in your postal code, right? And then you say within a radius of X, and you can choose, right? So you can make it small or big. Show me the people subject to all of the other filters that are near me. So for those of you where it's really important, okay, to find people close to you, Sales Navigator is kind of screaming, pay me $1,250 a month if you really want access to this. But it's often worth your while to do that. Okay, so for some people, this is critical. I don't use this much. There are other use cases. I won't go into them now, but for most of you, like if you need local is lekker, then that's the answer. Okay, so that's looking at location. Then of course industry, right? LinkedIn has a bunch of industries. There's a pre-populated list, and if you're looking for somebody and they're in that list, it's easy to find. So guess what? There's a list for accountants. They're very easy to find. Just go to the industry list, I want accountants, and they will tell me. And in all probability, right, those accountants are either going to be working in practice. If it's the industry, and the industry is accounting, they're probably going to be in practice, right? As opposed to, say, being an accountant for Barlow's International, right? Because they've chosen the industry. That they didn't choose like manufacturing or retail or mining, for example. So industry, you got to take with a pinch of salt. Again, it's quite a broad filter, and you might find a lot of rubbish that you've got to work through when you're looking at the results that come up in your search. Okay. Then you get the job title. Now this here is the most important probably filter out there. Okay. You get it to a limited degree, and I'll show this to you in just a minute on LinkedIn and on Sales Navigator. So remember when we were building out the experience section, and I said to you, think about the SEO. What do people type in to find you? Most people are very uninspiring. They'll just say what they do. That's this filter. So it pulls from that one little block that you've typed in, and so it's typically the way that people identify themselves. So what do? Well, I'm an accountant. I'm a financial advisor. Okay, but whatever that case might be, I'm a virtual assistant. So this is kind of cool. Limited on LinkedIn, and I'll show you what I mean. On Sales Navigator, again, because they've got lists and that this is much easier to find. So technically you could do the same thing. It's just that if you don't know what they are, it'll be rather hit and miss on LinkedIn, where like they tell you exactly what it is on Sales Navigator, right? Seniority levels. Again, this is people that make decisions, right? So LinkedIn is this whole hierarchy. On LinkedIn, you kind of type stuff in and you hope it works. On Sales Navigator, there's a bit of a hierarchy. So it starts off like with owners and partners and directors, and then it gets to C level, and then it gets to management level and seniors, all the way to people who are on interns, right? So you can be very specific in terms of who you're looking for. And for most of us, we want to speak to the business owner, small business owner. you can do that reasonably on LinkedIn, but Sales Navigator's got a specific filter and pulls it from different places. So it makes it a lot easier. So you would see here, so if I was looking for the job title, I might say accountant or audit partner. Who do I want? Well, I need somebody who's an owner or a partner or a director in terms of seniority level. Then you'll see now there's a whole bunch that you just don't have access to on LinkedIn. And this stuff's really useful down the track. So the function is very closely tied to industry. Okay. And this won't be relevant for all of you, so this might not matter. But every industry has let's say there's a set of job functions that can be applicable to every industry, right? For example, accounting, admin, law, logistics, marketing, sales, business development, whatever that is, right? So depending on what we've got here. So if I'm talking about the accounting industry and I'm looking for the job function, I want somebody who's in accounting or business development or consulting. Those are all different people working within that industry called accounting. So sometimes that makes sense, but for most of you, probably not. Okay. If it does, Sales Navigator is the way to go. This is very cool, by the way. This one here helps a lot. Years of experience. Sales Navigator gives you this type of breakdown. So it says you less than a year, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5, 6 to 10, 10 or more, right? And it breaks it down into how long you've been working in total, or how long you've been in your current position or the current company. So it allows you to make quite a lot of interesting deductions about the group of people, and you can be a lot more specific when you're finding them, right? I use this a lot, as do I use headcount, right? So headcount, obviously, again, as the breakdown, sort of self-employed 1 to 10, 11 to 50, 51 to 200, 200 to 500, and it gets 10,000 plus, right? So again, most of us would be playing in this space here. You don't have that ability on LinkedIn, and what it's doing is it's obviously giving you a little bit of a sense of who the type of person is and what sort of demands are going to be placed on their time that you're wanting to deal with. And also, you know, if somebody's got 1 employee, well, we don't know. If you've got 10, 20, 50, you've probably got a substantial business, right? Because you're looking after other people. So this is a really nice filter from that perspective. Company type, that's actually useless. Unless you're looking for government stuff, which I don't think there's anybody here, or you're looking for universities and things, which again, I don't think there's anything out, or NGOs. That's kind of useless. So that doesn't matter. And then groups is an interesting one, right? Because when people join groups, they join groups because they have an affinity to that group, and we can find them. So if I'm looking for accountants who are into marketing, right, and I type in marketing for accountants, a bunch of groups will come up. So let's say somebody is in the group called social media marketing for accountants. Okay, I will know, because they're an accountant and they joined the group, that they're interested in marketing. So I'm one step closer to qualifying them. And it's not a big jump for me to take them from marketing, even social media marketing, to LinkedIn, to client generation. In fact, it might even be the same thing. So that's a good place for me to start my fishing. Okay. All of you should join as many groups as you can where your ideal clients hang out. Okay. Very, very useful and valuable to you. So this is giving you a little bit of a sense for what's going on here. When you look at your filters, for me, the go-to filters are these. So the first thing I'm going to try and do always, and again, this is easier on Sales Navigator, because Sales Navigator will show you everybody on LinkedIn, right? The rest of the filters will only show you the people that are in your network, as I explained to you before. But location is the first thing. So I always want to know, well, what's the size of the market that I'm trying to attract? And if it's only in South Africa, then you say, okay, show me. But it might be regional, right? You need to be in Gauteng, or within a 50 or 100 kilometer radius of your office. Then you need to just be aware of that. So I always want to find out how big the market is, because before I'm going to put a bunch of effort into it, let me see. The next thing is you obviously want to exclude, if you can, first level connections, because the point is to take second and third and to turn them into first, Right, that's what we're trying to do. So there's no point in having them when you are doing a search to find new people. Let me just, the other thing is that when you are doing your outreach, okay, this is like a good tip, is try always to only send connection requests to second-degree connections. Okay, why? Because if somebody is a second-degree connection, by implication, you have at least one first-degree connection in common. You'll see for yourself. Somebody sends you something and they're a third-degree connection, and you look at them. There's no information. It's like, who the hell is this person? The acceptance rate tanks dramatically from second to third degree. Okay, and the more people that you connect with in your niche, the more second degree people get added. So every time a new first degree connects, suddenly more people are now second degree connections than were before, the day before, right? So this thing grows exponentially. So even if you're starting and you're struggling, it doesn't matter. Stick with second. Second will grow. There'll be a point where just second just doesn't matter anymore. You've got enough. Okay, so that's very important. Try to connect with second. Industry can be a little bit hit and miss, but it can also be quite focused in terms of who you're trying to find, because an industry refers to all sorts of different people within the industry. So the IT industry can have people in software, can have people in hardware, can have programmers, the list goes on. Like, what are you looking for? But at least they're in the IT industry, so it's kind of focused. So industry is a little bit like I was saying, where you put a search term into the search box where it like searches the whole profile. It's kind of like it searches like the whole industry, but there are ways then for you to narrow the search. And then job title and seniority. So job title, as we said, that's probably the most important. And then use the seniority on top of that to go and find the type of people that you want to deal with. So owners, partners, directors, co-owners, founders, co-founders, that sort of thing. Those are kind of the main ones, and those you can use on LinkedIn as well as Sales Navigator. So let me pull the screen back and just see. Do you guys have any questions? And then I'll jump on and actually show you some practical stuff in terms of how to do this. Marianne.
I'm not looking for people in any particular industry or with a particular job title.
Okay.
So how do I make it work for me?
What are you looking for?
That's the side. Looking for people who are working very hard but not getting anywhere, and that's a mindset thing that they need to shift.
You have to be more specific. So like LinkedIn works because it's got boxes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to think outside the box. Okay, and that might be what I do with you next week. It'd probably be what I do with you next week. So let me ask you to
business and professional women.
Okay, so that's easy to find. You're not necessarily going to know like whether they're interested or not. None of us are, in fact. Right? Because only 1 to 5% are, but at least have a good starting point. So you should know from your experience who those people typically are, right? So you'll see what are the jobs that they have, what sort of businesses do they run. Start there. That's the logical place.
I just realized, of course, if I go to second connection of people who do similar work to me, and there's a chance that those people are connected to the other coaches or whatever.
Yeah, as long as you're connected to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've just realized that searching second connection is probably the answer.
Yeah.
Because if I go to people who are doing similar work, because there's quite a few of them on LinkedIn. So if I look at their second connections, if I link to them and then look at their second connections, I might find clients there. Okay.
You will. I'll show you some more stuff next week, which will make a little bit more sense. So giving you basics today, and then next week we think outside the box a little bit. Looking for. Thanks, Andre. There's
Because
the
I'm not
notes.
sure how that sales navigator would be any better for me than the freebie one.
Now let's see. Okay, so let's show you LinkedIn and Sales Navigate, right? Okay, let's do this. So we have LinkedIn over here and Sales Navigate over here. So let's just say, for example, let's just say, what should we search for? Who wants to search? Give me something. Who wants to find something? Otherwise, we're going to be boring when we do accountants.
Small business owners.
All right.
Oh no, but IT companies or
let's
something
do,
like that.
okay, let's do IT companies.
Perfect.
Okay. So if I type IT companies into LinkedIn, right? So obviously, whatever you type in, you can search for them in any of these places. Right? Obviously, we want to go for people. That's the first thing that we want to do. So globally, for whatever reason, somewhere on the profile, we have reference to IT companies or IT companies. So we've got 66,000 people, right? So that's where it starts. But that doesn't help us because that's the whole of LinkedIn, right? So if we go back and we say, all right, well, let's start off, and let me just go to all filters because this is actually the easiest. So if you look at what you have access to, obviously we've got access to locations, right? So let's say we want them to be in South Africa. So if I go and I show results, what you'll see up here is it now shows me that I've selected that filter, and obviously this has now come down to 1,800 people, right? So at least now I'm looking at the people in my target market. So we go back to all filters. The next thing is the current company. That means where are they working at the moment. Now, if I'm looking for people at a specific company, this is great. Most of us don't care. So that's kind of a useless filter. Connections of, I'll come back to this just now because this is actually very cool. More cool than you might think. And if you're not aware of what it is, you'll be very excited in just a minute. Same with followers, right? If you type a creator in there, it'll tell you who's following them. So Marion, to your point, if you're finding other coaches that are creating content, put them in here and it'll bring up all their content, and you can target the people that are commenting or liking their stuff. Okay, which is quite cool. Past companies similar to current company. For most of us, we don't care. School essentially means university. Okay, so if it makes sense for you to target somebody at a particular university, and again, it's only the universities that are listed on LinkedIn, but all the major ones are, but some of these smaller subsidiary things won't be. Industry, so we've got that, right? So probably, so you can see even here, it's given us a couple of choices. So it's given us IT services and IT consulting, technology, information, and media. So, and here's even technology, information, internet. So I don't know, let's click more. Language, I haven't actually found this to be useful. Not in South Africa. It's useful to me with some of my international clients, and the reason it's not useful in South Africa is because other than English, LinkedIn doesn't recognize any of our other official languages, not even Afrikaans. So it's pointless because everything will default to English in South Africa. So that's useless. If you're going overseas, particularly into South America or to the European countries, then it starts to make a little bit more sense. People that are open to volunteering, if that's important to you. Marion, that might be something that sort of appeals to you. For the rest of us, probably not. And then the servicing categories. So again, if you know what they do, so again, IT consulting looks good, information, software development, maybe even operations. Okay, we can take that. And then you've got, as you see here, the keywords, right? So this title here, and it's not obvious, but this is the block, right? Where you type in that thing that we spoke about, the job title. What do they call themselves? So if I know what they call themselves, I don't know, let's go for engineer, for example. Then I'm good. Now, I picked a lot of filters, so that I might end up with 0 results. Oddly, no, geez, I got 96. That's quite impressive, right? So I've got 96 results now where I've got a fairly targeted list because I'm looking for people, and I've used the keyword IT companies, but they're in South Africa. We've got them in the IT industry, in doing IT type stuff, and I'm looking specifically for engineers, right? So now you'll see as I start to look, there it is, analytics engineer, right? Software developer. So that's right. Team leader, managing internal accounts. So somewhere in here is going to be the word engineer in the profile. Also, women of Rainbow Nations. See, this is kind of weird, but that's where the IT comes in. It's one of the skills on the profile, right? That's why this is not a great filter, right? To use network engineer, senior software engineer, right? So this is kind of giving you a little bit of a sense to find them, right? So you can see LinkedIn is quite limited in what it's able to do. So look at Sales Navigator, right? Sales Navigator has actually got two filters. They've got what they call lead filters, which are people, and they've got account filters, which are companies. So lead filters is the comparative to what we look at now, and that's looking at our personal profiles. So again, now you can see I've got access to quite a lot more here than I did before, right? So again, I'll start off with the geography. So in this case, I'll type in South Africa, and you will see in just a second, as soon as you type something in, it populates here, and you'll see we have 13 million plus results. That changed fairly recently, so that probably means we've got just over 13 million people in South Africa on LinkedIn. Okay, so I know the size of my market, right? There wasn't really a way for us to tell that on LinkedIn. Now, when it comes to industry, again, if I type in, let's see if I do IT, what do I get? Look at that. I've got so many more different options. And if I was looking for something a bit more specific, if I was looking for custom software operations, etc., IT data services, you can see the level. Obviously, there's some other rubbish here because I've used the word it, but what happens if I did that? Would that help? No, it would not. What if I did that? And if I did information, as you start typing, LinkedIn will start to pick up what's there. So information services or technology information, that's going to be like the big one. So if we just hover over that, you can see that says technology information and internet, and this is technology information and media. So again, I can include all of them. So watch this. Let's start with information services. We don't know. So let's leave that. So let's start with the first one. So as I include it, now you'll see this number comes down very drastically, but we know that there's 180,000 people that have given an indication when they filled out their LinkedIn profile that that was the industry that they're in. Okay, we can go back and pull the other one if we want as well. So let's go and get it. Let's go grab that. That should add a few more. So now you're getting a bit more of a sense of the IT industry. Like we ended up with 96 or something here, right? Whatever it was, 96 results there. We might slip down to that, but now at least you're starting to get a lot more of a sense of, okay, what does this industry look like? Actually, that's quite sizable. Yeah, I could make good business in this space, right? It's still, in terms of what we've done, is still very broad right now. But if we pop up to the top, now you can see there's the job function, which again, I'm not a big fan of. And I'll show this to you just so that you know and you sort of understand. Some of these filters, you can type whatever you want into them. Others, there's a pre-populated list. So this is a pre-populated list. It's either on this list or it's not, right? So this is what I was saying. Any business in the world can have sales, media, engineering, arts, business development, accounting. So there's information technology. So I might include this here, right? Let's just see. So somebody who's has a job function of information technology. Look how much this is reduced. That it's down to 30,000 people now, right? From hundreds of thousands, 380,000, whatever it was. So sometimes this can be quite useful depending on who it is that you're looking for. So let's continue to play this game. So we said engineer before, so let's go. And it might have been software engineer, but as I type engineer, you can see it's kind of intelligent, so it's leading me because it's probably a software engineer as I've chosen information technology. So I could click any of these. There's a senior software engineer, project engineer, etc. So right, let's go for, and I can include as many of these as I want, right? So software engineer is only 12, so that sucks. So senior software engineer, I doubt whether that's going to do much for me. No. And then let's go for the top level. Hopefully that'll bring a lot more in. No. So people that claim to be in the information technology industry, there's only 15 of them that are quote unquote engineers. Let's say I get rid of this. All right. Let's see what that does. So playing around with filters is kind of interesting because that might have been too restrictive, right? Because now it goes to 9,000. So sometimes these filters are not good. And some of these filters are driven by what we do as individuals as we fill out our profile. So I leave the function out for the minute because I think 9,000 looks a lot better, right? Seniority level. So you can see here, this is what I was saying to you earlier. So typically you've got owner and partner at the top of the tree. Then it tends to go down to director, and you'll see if we scroll down a little bit, you've got this here. These are C-suite executives. Okay, so anything with chief in the title, all right? Chief executive officer, chief IT officer, whatever it happens to be. That would be that. Vice president is an American term. It's not very successful in South Africa. I never use it, but you can see people could be strategically involved. They could be senior type people. And then it sort of dwindles down to entry level and in training. So let's go for the partners. That's who we want, most of us. We want to deal with owners and partners. Okay, that's quite interesting, right? So software engineers typically do not own businesses. Okay, this might have just been because I chose a poor example of the job title. But you can see we have this ability to start honing it in. However, they definitely make good directors because there's 8,500 of them, right? But because I've chosen all these other very restrictive filters, it's not showing me too many. I might have to get rid of some of these. So let's get rid of these. Let's say I don't go for the job title. I just want to see who's an owner or partner of somebody who's involved in the IT industry. See 14,000. Okay. But if I don't put a job title, it gets a bit messy. What about if I put engineer up here? All right. Now it's searching the entire profile. So this would be fairly similar to what we had done on LinkedIn. You can see we've got over 1,000 results. So a lot more people are coming, into the process. So we can get, as you see, a lot more targeted. Here's your company headcount, right? So if you look at this, there's 258 of these people who are self-employed. There's 391 that have between 1 and 10 staff, and 297 between 11 and 50. Okay, so people that are running their own businesses are probably these people here, right? These guys are might be too big for us, right? Because when you're starting to deal with 200 or 500 or 10,000 people, the demands on your time are different. The staff members to do the stuff that we would do. So this is how you're able to think through, when you know who your target market is, how to go ahead and to actually target people. So if I want to, let's just go self-employed and see what we get. Let's do self-employed, maybe in 1. Let's just do 1 to 10. Now, hopefully you're starting to see how you get to really build on, how to really refine what's going on. Now, one of the problems that we have on LinkedIn is that we don't know if people are active or not, right? So we know that only 48% are active. So one of the great advantages that you guys have, because you spent so much time building your profiles, is you now know what a good profile looks like. So you will instantly know. Okay, by now it's second nature to you. You will instantly know when you look at somebody's profile whether this is a good or bad profile. And that profile will give you a lot of clues as to whether this person is active on LinkedIn or not. Because when you go through this process of searching for the people that you want to connect with, right? What you need to do is you've got to satisfy 2 criteria. So you must start off on the basis of does this person fit that niche that I determine? Are they my ideal client? And then your second question is, in all probability, are they active on LinkedIn or not? Because if they're not, you've just wasted a connection request. There's no point in sending that. Now, Sales Navigator has this filter over here. If I turn this on, where it says posted on LinkedIn. So of those people, 97 of them posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. So I know that all of these people are active, right? So I've immediately raised my probability of success dramatically. On LinkedIn, you don't have that opportunity. You'd have to literally open each profile to go and look at it and see if there was activity. Okay. Another giveaway is obviously if they have the little LinkedIn golden badge. This little golden badge here says to you that this person is either paying for or is currently undergoing a trial of one of LinkedIn's paid products. And it can be any product, right? It can be Sales Navigator, it can be LinkedIn Premium, it can be any of the job-based stuff. So there's products for people looking for a job, and there's other things like Recruiter and Recruiter Lite for people that are hiring, right? If you think we pay a lot, yes, LinkedIn rips them like you can't believe. I think it's $9,000 a month for one seat. It's just like it's stupid money. Anyway, I digress. So the point being, right, that we know that these people are posting probably on LinkedIn because they've done that, and it would have been at least once in the last 90 days. So these people are active. Okay. There's a couple of other things on here, but I don't know that it's worth diving into that just yet. Let me pause for a second. I know I've dumped a lot on you, okay, but there's a lot of really good stuff in there. Let me pause for a second and see if you guys have got any questions on that. I've either explained it really well or I've stunned you completely into silence. It's like, well, shit. It's one of those.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. Yeah, maybe just watch the replay of this because there's a lot of like really cool stuff. So I always say to people, when you are considering getting involved in LinkedIn, in fact, anywhere, like this whole process of knowing who your ideal client is, like that first, what we did last year, I spent maybe the majority, but I spend a great deal of my time with my clients getting that right because everything else is dependent on that. The better you know who your ideal client is, so the more you know about them, the more you can use LinkedIn to find them. Okay, I've given you some clues now. There's others still. This is kind of phase one. Okay, next week I'll show you a couple of other interesting tidbits to hopefully take this to another level. But this should really get you guys going. And hopefully I've shown you a little bit in Sales Navigator to get you to the point where you're thinking, oh, I should probably try that. Now that you guys have got good profiles and you've got your messages done, if you take on the 1 month trial, and if you know anybody that already has a Sales Navigator subscription, right? They have a facility to gift you an extra month, so they can actually give you 2 months, which is worth it. I've unfortunately gifted all of mine. You would think LinkedIn would want you to give them away. No, you get 10, and then they give you another 5, and then that's it. It's like I want to give them to people. No, it's like everyone I've given to has bought the damn thing. Yeah, LinkedIn is strange people. So if you know somebody who's got, they can give you a link to get 2 months. If not, then just take the 1 month trial. And if you like it, you can build a list. You can build lists for like the next 6 months. Like get it, use it like crazy. Build the list of what you need, and then cancel it or keep it for 2 months and then cancel it, or whatever the case is.
James?
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry for being late. Windows decided to do a 30-minute upgrade on my PC, and my camera is not working after that.
Of course
So
it
the
did.
wonderful world of Microsoft. But anyhow, so everything we've been doing today is still finding the perfect connection. Is that correct? We're still looking for building our profile, connection profiles. We're not into marketing yet.
No, hopefully hopefully you have your your ideal profile sorted out. This is showing you how to find them. So you should know who they are. This is showing you how to find them on LinkedIn so you can start the process.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Do you guys want a cool trick?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me show you a cool trick. We got to get a different one of these. So let's get onto LinkedIn. Okay, so let's go and find one. She's so enthusiastic, we're going to use her as our example. So, the cool trick is this little thing here, which is also a Chrome extension. It's called Get Very Fast. Okay, it's the most amazing little thing. What I'm about to show you is all it does. So you get to create a template on it. Okay, and we call the template, what should we call this? Link, let's call it link test. 2525. Okay, call it anything I want. You would normally call it something more descriptive like connection message or thanks for connecting message. You can put a subject line because this thing can send both LinkedIn messages and it can, if you're using Gmail, it can do the same thing for email. So I'll just pop this in here. And now you're going to write your message, right? So I'm going to write a message. I'm going to say hi. And then it's got a variable down here. It's got a few, but the only one you really want to use is this one. So I insert the name. And what this does is it pulls the name if it has it. And if it doesn't have the name, it inserts the word there. So it's either hi Delvin or hi there. Right? So I say yes. And it puts this placeholder called Clark in. Right? So then I'm going to say comma. And I'm going to write you a message. And the message is you should check out www.getveryfast.com. I'll say they give you 40 free messages a month, and thereafter it costs $20 for unlimited messages for 3 months. Enjoy. James. Okay, now I save this template. Okay, now I'll go back here. I might have to refresh this. Just let me do that. And so now I can go and message, right? And you'll see there's our little lightning bolt logo. So if I click on it, what it now does is it opens all of the messages that I have. Now, because this one is new, it'll be quite close to the bottom. There it is. So if I click on it, watch what happens. So watch down here in the message as I click on it, right? Just puts in the whole thing, including the first name. So there's no more copy paste. It's just click, sorted, first name. And obviously I can change this, huh? Whatever. This is the template. Huh? And then I will send it. So Delvin, you should now get a message from me that says that. And so what I suggest, I'll put this in the chat. Well, actually, let me just let's go get it. Yeah, giving LinkedIn, we know. Okay, so.
James, where did you click to open up Get Fast in the profile?
Show you now. I'm putting it in the chat. It's free, just go get it. So what you'll do is you'll if you there getveryfast.com, or you can just type it into the browser yourself. Then you yeah, I've already got it. It'll say add to Chrome or something. You just like
Yeah.
any other, just
Yeah,
add,
no,
add
but
the
then
thing.
when you're in the profile and you want to retrieve that message, you said click something and I didn't see what it was.
Yeah, so I want to write a message. As soon as you click in the message, it comes up automatically. Then you click on it,
that one down there. Okay.
and then what it does is quite intelligent. It puts the messages you used last up at the top, right? So
Yeah.
all your
I
current stuff
didn't
is
notice the
here.
icon that you clicked on. That was it. So,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. As soon as you click in it, the icon appears, and you can do the same for messages, for Gmail, which is kind of cool. This thing will save you hours of time. It's like it's one of my favorite toys of all time. And I found this, I was like so excited. Even though I use other automation software, I still use this. I use the two together because this is just so easy. So anytime you find yourself writing the same message more than once, like, hey, do you want to book a meeting? If I offer you a free book and you say yes, and I say, here's the book. Like, there's a million things. So you'll see in mine here. I've got templates for days.
This is
that
awesome.
I do. But it's really cool. It's like you don't have to keep thinking about it. It's just click, 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 and it just like bounces
And
it
the
through.
40 and the number of messages that's in place of the LinkedIn limitation.
No, it's their limitation. Obviously, they want you to pay. So I thought 40 is quite generous actually. So they'll give you 40. When you, I think the first time you sign up, I don't know if they're still doing it, but they did. The first time you sign up, you'll get to the end of your 40, and then they'll say, hey, fill in a little survey and we'll give you another 40. And then you do that. It takes you 13 seconds. They give you another 40, and then after that, now you must buy. Then when you get to that point, you have a few options. The one is you go back to copy paste. You'll be very pissed off at that stage after using this. So this is not your best option. The second option is you pay them $20 for 3 months or $60 for the year, or you open another Chrome browser, you register again, and you get another 40/80. It's up to you. But if you're not doing a fortune, at least just start with this thing and test it. It really makes such an amazing
But what I'm
difference
saying
to
is
you.
you've got LinkedIn gives you a limited number of messages, and this is within that limitation. It doesn't enable you to use more messages in LinkedIn.
No, LinkedIn's your problem. This is just a tool.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah. I know you can. LinkedIn is the boss. It's the groot kokkedoor. So yeah. Whatever LinkedIn says goes. But I think I've broken your brains enough for one day. We'll show you some cool stuff next week. Go try some of this. Start to get a little bit of a feel for it and see what you find and where your frustrations are. We'll show you some out the box stuff next week. So we might conclude next week. I'll see. Because I've kind of covered everything that I set out to achieve. So what I do want to do though is I want to probably chat to you guys all on a one-on-one, just to sort of get a little bit of a sense of what worked, what didn't, what was good, what was bad. And yeah, maybe we can sort of do a group critique next week as well, just to say what you liked and what you didn't, what would be nice.
Is that the last week then?
Probably. I haven't decided fully, but I think I will probably have covered everything. I actually thought I would do it today when I was building out the slides, because I built them out week by week. I didn't do it in advance because being in a new program, I just wanted to see how it developed. So it's not bad. I stuck to my 12 weeks, but I can give you a little bit more, and so I figured I will.
Thank you very much.
All right, good stuff. We will see you all next week. Bright and breezy.
Thanks, James. Thanks,
All right.
everyone. Cheers.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Okay. Cheers. Bye-bye.